Christine, do you know that we're recording this today?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. Hello, everybody. I'm John Fraundorfer, and I'm here with my colleague, Derek Watson, and we are with the Denver Construction Careers Program. And today we're sitting down with Christine Mortensen. She's the Human Resource Manager with GH Phipps, and she is going to talk to us today about prevailing wage and entering data into LCPtracker. So we're just going to jump right in. Feel free to get going, Christine. Thank you for being with us today.
Oh, thank you, John. Like John mentioned, today I'm presenting on the prevailing wage and LCPtracker as it relates to the City and County of Denver and the Construction Careers Pilot Program. My goal today is to really demystify the prevailing wage aspect of the projects and to also kind of help you out a little bit with the utilization of LCP. So if you're ready to get going, we'll start with our slideshow. All right. So for those of you that do not have a lot of experience with the city and county's prevailing wage, I'm going to begin with just a few definitions. So prevailing wage is in governmental contracting, the wage that you have to pay your worker. And that breaks down to their specified position, classification, if they're an apprentice, if they're a journeyman, if they're a master for that project. Those hourly rates are based upon that worker classification and that level that they satisfy within their classification. So the wage itself is based on two different components. The base wage, which is the minimum hourly rate that you're going to be paying your worker, and then also the fringe, and that is the benefits, the extras, the PTO, and those are paid to a bona fide plan on behalf of the worker. The final component is reporting. And so when you have your prevailing wage, you pay your employee, then there is a reporting component, and that's where LCPtracker comes in. Now, the prevailing wage itself is determined by the city's HR department and in line with their municipal code, the DRMC, section 20-76. And the rates are broken into four categories. So you'll have a building rate, and that's going to include most of the work that you're going to have within the footprint and the foundation of a building. There's highway, which is exactly as it sounds. It includes the construction, alteration, repair for their streets and highways and similar projects. The category of heavy is kind of the catch-all, so something that doesn't fall within building or highway. And then there is a special classification that is OHR, and that is for classifications that are not addressed by the U.S. Department of Labor. So when you receive your contract, whether you're working directly with the city or you are subcontracted to a prime, general, whoever it may be, the wage determination with your classification will come with your part of the contract. And so it'll be really easy for you to tell where you fall and what you need to pay. So some of you might be asking, do you really have to pay prevailing wage? And the very simple answer is yes, you do. There is Denver law that requires any contractor or subcontractor at any tier that performs construction within the four categories that were aforementioned that you do have to pay this. Now, there is a minimum contract amount, and that minimum is $2,000. And so for most of us, anything that we do within the city and county of Denver is going to meet that requirement. So yes, you do have to pay the prevailing wage. Now, prevailing wage rates should be paid to your workers on a weekly basis. Once again, they're based on that worker classification for the project. And those wage rates may increase or decrease annually during the life cycle of the project. And that's an important distinction to know. Denver City and County prevailing wage does differ a little bit from the federal Davis-Bacon or service contract rates in that it can increase or decrease during the life cycle of a project. So that's something to pay close attention to. Now, your fringe benefits for the calculation purposes are to be calculated on either 2,080 hours per year for worker or the average of 173 hours per month. Now, you might ask yourself, so is any really going to pay attention if I pay the rate the rate correctly? And the answer to that is absolutely. The Denver Auditor's Office is responsible for tracking and auditing to make sure that those prevailing wage are paid correctly and that your workers are receiving those. So once again, we come back to kind of how those rates are monitored and where that data is mined. And the City and County of Denver has partnered with LCPtracker to collect all of that data so that it can be audited, looked at for compliance, and monitored for the project. I've included a link here where you can find more information at the city and county for their prevailing wage. And using this link, they have a wonderful site that walks through all sorts of different aspects of their prevailing wage and a lot of frequently asked questions. So now we're going to move on to the data collection portion of the prevailing wage. Like I mentioned, LCPtracker is kind of the leading solution for certified payroll reporting, construction site compliance management, and workforce reporting. And the City and County of Denver has a wonderful relationship in which LCP has been able to build very specific dashboards for their use, especially as it relates to the Construction Careers Pilot Program. So you will be using LCPtracker whenever you pay prevailing wage and reporting it into that system on a weekly basis. The best part about LCPtracker is that it's 100% cloud-based application, and it really is geared specifically to the subcontractor, general contractor world, so that it helps you navigate those complexities of the certified payroll reporting. It's going to help you with your accuracy. It's going to have built-in modules to check for your completeness. You can generate reports with it, and it is kind of the be-all end-all when it comes to prevailing wage. I've included your login site right here for you logging into LCPtracker. And once again, all of the information will come either from the city auditor's office on how you log in, or there will be information given to you in your contract, whether it be a subcontract or prime, when you have that. So there's a lot of information out there, but using LCPtracker is actually a little bit easier than you think it is. There's two great options for entering your payroll data. You can either enter your payroll data manually, or you can choose to do an upload through your payroll source or payroll file. There's lots of payroll service companies that are able to produce interface files. A few of them are ADP, Paycom, Paychex, QuickBooks, Sage, which is also Timberline at this point. And there's also a few others. And you should reach out to your particular HRIS payroll data system to see if that's something that they can comprise and put together for you. Because you can, if you have a lot of workers on a site, having that payroll upload is a little bit easier than doing manual entry. However, if you're a smaller company and you might only have one or two people that will work on a City and County of Denver job, then I would recommend saving yourself a couple of bucks and just entering your information manually on a weekly basis. Okay. So I've included some screenshots here of kind of some general overview on navigating LCPtracker. So once again, you'll navigate to the site and you will log in. Once you get logged in, they're just wonderful when it comes to the training documents that they have. So for manual wage entry, the complete guide can be found after logging in. You'll see this bright yellow tab and you just click on that for your training materials. You'll navigate down the screen to the line item that's training and support resource guide. And once you click on that, you'll have all of these other documents, but at the bottom, you'll see where it says Wage Data Entry Guide. And I highly recommend that you do pull this up and take a look at it because their step-by-step directions are very complete. So just a quick little detail for you on your manual entry. Once you set up an employee, you'll begin. There's a setup tab, and you will start to enter your employees. They will have all of their data, their name, last name, social security number, if there's an employee ID. The nice thing about this is that employee stays stored in LCP. And should you have additional jobs, you can transfer their information over to the new job and you don't have to enter them twice. So it's a one-time employee entry for LCP. Now, one of the things that I really want to highlight is that the ethnicity box for LCPtracker is really, really important. The City and County of Denver relies on this information for their reporting, and their classifications in LCP can differ a little bit from what you might be used to seeing. So if you look at it, there is the box where you can choose a not specified, or there are the categories of Caucasian, African American, Asian, Hispanic, Native American, or other. And I just want to stress to you that it's really, really important in a lot of different programs for the city and county to make sure that they're collecting this data. So please don't use not specified. Please make sure that you are classifying your workers appropriately for their ethnicity. So the other component that we have is the prevailing wage calculation. And for some people, this can be a little scary, a little daunting, but it's really very straightforward. When you have your worker, we all pay our workers an hourly wage. But if you are paying anything on their behalf to a bona fide plan, whether it be PTO, a medical contribution, dental, vision, maybe you have a 401k and you've got a match, you might be paying short-term or long-term disability on their behalf of this employee. You want to make sure that you are adding that into the fringe calculation. So as you can see on this spreadsheet, you have your hourly wage of your worker, and that is what you pay them when they are not on a prevailing wage site. Then you will have hours worked on the site for a gross payroll. Now, if we go line item, you'll see that John Doe worker has some PTO accrual. And what we've done is we have taken the amount that they are accruing each week. We take that times their normal hourly wage to get their weekly wage. You divide that by the hours that they've worked in a week, and this gives you a per hour amount of what you're paying each week into a PTO fund. We've done that all the way down with our medical, dental, and vision contributions. We've also done that with our 401k match percentage. Even the health savings account that you're having per year, you can put that into an hourly amount. And so John Doe, in addition to his hourly wage of $25 an hour, we are also paying on his behalf another $3.61 an hour to a bona fide plan for him. Moving down, you'll see that the prevailing wage on this project, you have, as an example, a base of maybe $32.64 an hour and a fringe amount of $15.01. Well, we want to know what we need to pay our employee on this project. We know we have to pay him the base of $32.64, but the fringe, you get to deduct the fringe you already pay to a bona fide plan. So you'll see for the fringe calculation, we're taking the $15 minus the $361, and the difference is $11.40. When you move down, you'll see that you have your base wage, you have your fringe amount, and that will total the $44 that you are going to pay your employee per hour to work on this particular project. The good thing to do is if you take that wage plus the fringe, it comes back up to the $47.65 prevailing wage rate. Once again, your calculations are really critical, and it is worth doing this to save yourself that $3.61 an hour per employee over the course of a longer project. If you're not taking this deduct that you're entitled to, your payroll can add up pretty quickly and you can have an overrun on your project. So next we're going to move to a payroll upload example. So once you've been able to figure out a payroll upload and you've saved that file, once again, LCPtracker has a really simple way to upload that file. So you'll log in, and at the top, you'll see where it says payroll records. You'll click on that, and the drop-down comes with the upload records. You'll click on that box. It brings you to your week ending date. So your week end date is typically the end of your payroll cycle, which is usually a Saturday. You'll go ahead and select the project that you're working on. And remember, if you have several projects that you are working on, you need to make sure you select the correct one. And then the location will automatically populate to City and County of Denver. You can go down to the bottom and you choose your file. And then you'll hit the upload button. The status bar will pop up to let you know that it is creating the records. And then once it's uploaded and complete, it will give you the box that tells you how many rows off of that payroll file were accepted. Once that's done and you click OK, you will see the bottom screen pop up and it will list every one of your workers, their classification, the employer names, and the weekend date. That way you can see and double check all of your entries before you certify your final payroll. So once you have your payroll for the week entered into LCPtracker and you've certified it, the capture of data is really complete. And at this point in time, the folks over at DITO and the Construction Careers Pilot Program are able to mine that data, and they're really able to take that, bring it into the specially formed dashboards that LCP has put together for them, excuse me. And they will take a look at all the different components of our reporting: the lived in zip code, gender of workers, ethnicity of workers, average worker wages, the apprentices, and then also the total hours worked on that project. So that's all of the data. That's how they mine it. And then they put together the quarterly reports that we all get to sit down with them and go over and kind of evaluate at that point. So John, do you have anything to add to this slide as far as the reporting or what you feel is really important?
I truly don't. I mean, I think what you covered about the importance of making sure the data that's entered is complete. So the dashboards will have complete information. And I want to stress again that whole not specified field. And one thing I did want to bring out too is in particular, like when it says Caucasian, if you entered in, say, white instead of Caucasian, the system does not tell you that that's not an option, and it will default to not specified. So you just need to make sure that you're using those fields, the options that are in the system, make sure that you're using those. So instead of, say, for white, you would put Caucasian in there. That's kind of important.
Absolutely. And I have that on my next slide because that is something that we actually
Oh.
came across on our payroll file, was that unbeknownst to us, we had our upload all ready to go. It uploaded and we kept having all of these not specified. And we couldn't quite figure it out. Well, we went ahead and looked at that upload file and absolutely. So out of our HRIS system that integrates with payroll, it did come through as white, and it does have to be Caucasian for it to be accepted into LCP. So that's one of my tips or reminders is, once you and your payroll service have that file to upload, make sure you kind of go back over and you scrub the data that's on there and make sure that everything lines up with LCP and how it's going to get uploaded. And again, do not forget to take that credit for the existing fringe benefits that you pay. It's really important. You're entitled to take that credit, and it can really make a huge difference at the end of the project if you have a large amount of payroll overrun. So you definitely want to take a look at that. So at this point in time, that kind of wraps up what I have to talk about. John, do you have questions?
I don't. I mean,
Okay.
I think you went over everything very clearly. I could see where this could be very daunting and overwhelming to a small business who has to wear many hats. And their primary thing is, if you're an electrician, you like being an electrician. You don't want to be a bookkeeper. So anything that can help anybody get through this and make it easier is wonderful, and really appreciate you going over this information.
Absolutely. And I actually have my contact information here at this on this last slide. And I do want to offer it up and just say, if you're a smaller company and you are just shaking your head, you're not sure about this, you'd like some help putting together maybe the calculation spreadsheet, please reach out. It's an honor to be able to help those that need it. And so for anybody that's out there that needs a little extra help, please reach out. I'm definitely available.
Fantastic. Derek, do you have anything to add?
Just a couple of comments. First of all, thank you so much, Christine, for sharing this with us. I know this will be quite beneficial for a number of the contractors that we're partnering with for the city. So thanks to you and GH Phipps for stepping up and providing this type of leadership for us. The other comment I had was really about the the prevailing wage piece in creating that calculation. Um, each classification has sort of like a different wage or hourly wage tied to it, and those are the minimums. Now contractors can pay above that prevailing wage as well, and I'd encourage folks to keep that in mind as you're looking at prevailing wage. That's the floor. You can reach for the ceiling in this as well. So those were pretty much my comments, and once again, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to bring this to smaller companies and help them out. So thank you.
Wonderful. And thank you again, Christine, for being here. We appreciate it, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. Bye.